Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Broman Clash, and tonight I want to talk about a topic that's been going on for quite some time, especially during this past week or so. And if you've been watching the news or you've been looking at things through various social media such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, then this should be pretty interesting to you. And how the way I as a black man feel. But you may be a black person, you may feel differently about this, or you may feel the same way. But I want to talk about the topic of what's been going on in Charlotte and how the way, there was, and what was going on in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and how there's a connection between them. But mainly, I want to talk about what happened with Mr. Terence Crutcher, and then there were other black folks that were, killed by the police through unjust means. Like, for example, Miss Korryn Gaines. The police didn't have a search warrant to go through her house, but yet they still barged in and killed her. And she was live on Facebook with her son. And they killed her and shot him. But the young one is still alive. But that shows how deplorable things are. Like, you don't respect a young child's life because he may, quote unquote, be a danger to society. You know how much bullshit. I smell bullshit. Like, come on, man. You mean you're that much of a fucking pussies that you just feel as if you could just shoot a mom and then shoot a young kid? I mean, he's gonna grow up wondering why did they shoot my mom for? And then Alton Sterling, he didn't do anything wrong. He was just selling CDs, and yet they shot him right there in cold blood. He didn't do anything, and it was an unjust arrest, and he was just selling CDs. That was just it. And then there was also Philando Castello, and how the way he was just, I don't know what happened with him, but I believe he was the one that was trying to tend to an autistic man or something like that, and they shot him. And then the officer just said, "I don't know why I did that." I'm like, really? You don't know why you just shot somebody? Was it because he was black? Or was it because it was something else, like an instinctive trigger? See, now, I'm not a military person. I'm not. I really am not. But really, even people from the military are really just getting fed up with America's bullshit and just being like, wait a minute, hold up. You mean to tell me that officers can't even follow protocol, but yeah, we have to follow protocol? And these are unarmed civilians, especially with the example of Mr. Terence Crutcher. He was shot in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which was, the site of Black Wall Street. I'm not saying there's a connection right there, but you catch my drift. But it's just like, really, man? You mean to tell me that you shot an unarmed black man who had his hands up, following the law, had his hands up, and you still shot him because he looked like, quote unquote, a bad dude? Really? He looked like a bad dude, even though he was following the law, even though he was doing everything that you said. He put his hands out. He got out of the car. He was very calm, very courteous, very kind. And he was a father. He was going to college. And he was basically doing the right thing. Because of what? Except for what? He wasn't born white. He wasn't born anything else. He was born either black. But even if he was born brown, he would still catch some action. Ain't that something? He would still catch some action even if he was born brown. Now, let's talk about how the way people felt about that in Charlotte. But before going on to that topic, let me talk about the officer in question. Yeah, being let out with manslaughter, and you couldn't even keep a rapist. Give me a break. And then all of a sudden now, I'm going to bring up this, and this is true. She said he looked like a bad dude. He was complying with the law. He didn't have any PCP because a person with PCP would not give two fucks about being shot. In fact, they would charge dead at you because think about it, PCP. It messes with your brain. It messes with your brain. It doesn't make you compliant with the law. In fact, it makes you want to charge half the law and crack them. But he had his hands up, and you call him bad dude, really? Because what? Because he was black? Nah, man, nah. They should charge. They should charge her with murder. And also, I read some articles talking about how the way she had a bit of a shaky past, and how the way she was using drugs. Also had issues with excessive force. Hell, had a restraining order against her by her ex's wife, and overall, was just a bad influence. And yet, for some odd reason, she was, let go easily, mind you. Yeah, administrative paid leave. And I remember reading certain articles too that even if you are a black officer, see, look, let me put it like that. If you add black to anything in America, guess what? You're just a target. And even if you are an officer, but if you happen to be a black officer or a brown officer, guess what? As soon as you go off duty, you're not an officer anymore. You're just a black target. In fact, they'll say, oh, he looks like a criminal. Let's get him. He looks like a criminal. Let's get him. And it's just like, really? He's an officer of the law, just like you. And hell, and can I tell you something that's really funny? Even when good cops, and I'm not talking about submissive cops. There's a difference between good and submissive. Let's get that straight now. There's a difference between good and submissive. See, good cops would do the right thing regardless if they have a badge on or not. And they will follow protocols whether they have a badge or not. A submissive officer is just somebody who goes with the flow. They just say, oh yeah, he's an officer of the law. We're not allowed to snitch on each other. We're not allowed to just talk down upon each other. We're not allowed to just sue each other and all that shit. But yet, yeah, they're just basically pawns in the game. While good officers, they do the right thing. There's a difference between following what is legal and doing what is moral. Now, how does this tie in with what happened with Terence Crutcher? It ties in because it shows a malpractice, or I put quote unquote malpractice in police ways. I mean, come on now. If you do your history in America and you actually know what the hell is going on, you would know that, wait a minute, there was no malpractice here. There was no misjudgment here. It was on purpose. It was all on purpose, and it was definitely like that ever since. I mean, hell, that's why the people aren't angry now, and hence why you see protests in Charlotte. And when you see protests in Charlotte that show their discontent, especially with a black mother being shot, and a black man being shot, another black man being shot. You know what, man? Just this year alone, how many black folks were shot? Matter of fact, how many people were shot by corrupt cops? By corrupt, not even corrupt cops, just fucked up cops. And quote unquote good cops, like I said, there's a difference between good and submissive. See, look, like I said, good cops, they'll be under fire for doing the right thing. Submissive cops, they'll be paid along with the bad cops because they're not going to do anything because they're afraid. And now I want to connect all this, what's going on with Charlotte. Because in Charlotte, North Carolina, I have some family that's in Charlotte too. And I hope they're safe, man, I really do. But to talk about this in a very serious tone, because what they're doing in Charlotte, they're doing the right thing. They're protesting, they're talking about the issue, they're bringing it up on the forefront. They're just saying, wait a minute, this isn't right. We're not supposed to be like this. It's not supposed to be just oh, gun one black man down, and then leave another one alive. And then leave another person alive because of their skin tone. A white guy doing some shit that he's not supposed to be doing. You know, Brock Turner, I'm talking to you. Yeah, quote unquote, and quote unquote, getting some action. And his father is a fucking disgrace, by the way. But on to what's going on in Charlotte. The people are very angry, and rightfully so. Because you know why? The reason why they're angry is because they're fed up with their own people getting shot up. They're fed up with their own people being mistreated. They're fed up with their own people just being like angry, man. And you know, there's a difference between being fed up and just being plain angry. See, when you're angry, you're just angry at everything. But when you're fed up with one certain thing or multiple things that pertain to that one subject. And personally, man, I applaud them because they're doing the right thing. They're bringing up an issue to the point that even the UN is starting to notice. And, you know, I'm just going to keep it real. It's very familiar if you think about it, because if you do black history, matter of fact, American history and black history go hand in hand, you would know that this is not the first time that it happened. All this is very reminiscent of, you know, I remember reading an article and it said like what's been going on in America is very reminiscent of the lynchings that happened back in like the 1950s and 60s. Yeah, it's modern day lynching. Shooting a black man, then making a statement saying that, oh, he was doing something that he wasn't supposed to be doing. Come on now. Like, really, just come on now. Be real. The only reason why all that was happening was because he was black. That was just it. And some of you may say that's a very simplistic and immature reason to say something like that. But let's just keep it real here. Under white supremacy and under America for quite some time, what's been going on? And if you notice the pattern, then you will notice that, like, wait a minute, this was intentionally made by design. And the people in Charlotte, and definitely the people, and I stand with them, because they're doing the right thing. Because they're saying, wait a minute, we got to speak up on this issue. And even the UN is noticing, like, wait a minute, you know, America, especially with this screwed up, you know, race for the White House, talking about how the White House, we need a new president. Barack Obama, I say he's a stellar man and a stellar husband, but as a president, I mean, he's there, but not up there, not with the people. But he does certain things for certain people, but he doesn't do things for all people. Well, you can't appeal to everyone, can you? But back on to, like, you know, what's been going on in Charlotte. And how the way the people are very angry. They're very, like, very embittered. Matter of fact, rage is the best way to describe it. They're very enraged because they feel as if, like, what can we really do? What's there really to say? How can we feel a certain type of way? Matter of fact, the only way that I feel is just either utter disgust, sadness, or just plain rage. And honestly, man, seeing like black men getting shot, seeing black women getting shot, seeing brown men getting shot, seeing brown women getting shot, you know, brown men and brown women, you know, Latinos and Latinas, you catch my drift. And they're getting shot even though they were very compliant with the law. Hell, even some white people are getting shot too. And it's real sad because it almost shows, like, really? What's the point? Like, if even if we were very peaceful, even if we just said we're going to protest, but we're going to protest peacefully, we're going to speak our minds, and even if we invoke the First Amendment, but let me keep it real with you. The First Amendment is only reserved for only a few type of people. And even if you invoke it and you're a regular citizen, but the question goes into the power of the eyes of the law. And whoever is in power of the law ultimately have the eyes, you know, because they can decide whether you're right or wrong. But to be fair, everyone has a right to speak out their mind and say what is truly right and what is truly wrong. But, right and wrong is truly ambiguous. And seeing the police clashings with the people, and how the way, even though they were peaceful, and how the way, and I mentioned before, this is very reminiscent of the 1960s, especially with the Little Rock Nine, and how the way the police officers was there to not only to keep them out, but to actually protect them. And then you have like a bunch of people just stirring up some shit too. And then Donald Trump saying like, make America great again. When was America ever great? What, you mean for rich white elites? You mean just for elites in general? If that's what you're trying to say, then honestly, America was never great. Because if America was ever great, that means people will not even be suffering. Now, how does all of this tie in with everything that's going on? Like I mentioned before, the people in Charlotte, they're feeling enraged. But yet they're doing it in a peaceful manner. So I give them credit for having a cool head, but being peaceful is not going to solve anything. Like actually being angry, expressing your anger, showing off that like, wait a minute, we're not going to take this shit anymore. That shows genuine emotion, because it's just like, wait a minute, we need to show off that, wait a minute, we're not taking this anymore, man. And then, here in New York, especially in Chelsea, there were people that planted bombs and exploded them in different places, especially in Manhattan. And it was just like they took them alive, and potentially people got hurt. Yet they were taken in alive. But yet here comes a black man. Yeah, key word, key phrase, black man. With his hands up. No, he was a college student, like I am. Very compliant with the law, and they shot him down. Really? So you mean to tell me that you can shoot down somebody who basically harmed people with bombs, but yet you can shoot down somebody who was compliant with the law, all because of skin tone? Are you serious? Keep it real, man. Keep it real. And it's just real sad. And what's going on nowadays, man? Like, people are protesting the national anthem, which I say right on for you, because you're doing the right thing. But it also shows how America doesn't really have its priorities straight. Think about it. If it doesn't have its priorities straight, because the only thing it talks about is just like, oh, they're disrespecting the national anthem. That's our way of saying that we are a great nation. Really? And Colin Kaepernick, I applaud you. Keep up the good work. Keep on doing it. And you definitely started something, man. And you started something very good, especially for the people, because you're expressing a problem. And people get angry over a fucking anthem from a fucking country that never gave a damn about them. Even if you are a veteran, guess what? Even if you are, and it's sad because there should be no such thing as a homeless veteran. There should be no such thing as a hungry veteran. There should be no such thing as a struggling veteran. Yet for some odd reason, they treat their veterans like shit. Even to the point that other veterans would just be like, you know what, man? What's America doing right now is not right. Especially with the killing of unarmed people. And in the military, and I remember reading this somewhere before, that they have certain protocols before they even start shooting and all that shit. They have to follow certain guidelines. And then seeing this in America, they're just like, is this a country that I truly fought for? Especially black veterans. Like, if you join the Army or the Navy, Marines, Air Force, even if you have those merits and credentials, guess what? They're just going to look at you and say, oh, he's just another black soldier. And there's nothing wrong with black. Black is beautiful. Don't get me wrong. But Just gonna keep it real. They're gonna add black before they add your merit. They're gonna add black before they add who you are. They're gonna add black before they add, yo, you're doing great. Because look at what happened with Dr. Dre. Great man, great producer. Arrested in front of his house. And he earned that shit. And he was like, what, a millionaire, billionaire now? And they arrest him. So it shows that even no matter what class you are in, they're still looking at you as two, not one. And I'm going to recite this from Homeless by KRS-One. Because no matter how rich you become, you'll always be two, not one. Because believe it or not, America ain't your home. We could take an Alka-Seltzer while we talk about shelter. You might want to talk about a little loan. And it's just like, listen to Homeless by KRS-One. KRS-One, despite what he said about Africa Bambaataa and all that stuff, but if you listen to what he has to say, especially during like his past albums, he's telling it how it is. And crazily enough, and funnily enough, it still applies to this very day. And it really disturbs me because it's just like, really? Why? We should value each other more. And we are definitely doing it. Because we are definitely doing the right thing. But really, like people killing us out in the street because we quote unquote look like a suspect because we happen just to be black. That's not right. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being black. No, what I'm saying is the notion of race to be included in order to show off that, like, wait a minute, I'm potentially a target because of my race, not because of who I am. That's not right. Hell, look at Jared Fogle and Brock Turner. You see something wrong with that, right? Sure, Jared Fogle was doing some shit, for quite some time, for like 3 years. And the FBI was on his case for like child pornography, and he even admitted that he had sex with children. Brock Turner, a well-known, the Stanford rapist, not the Stanford swimmer, the Stanford rapist. He's a rapist. Let's just keep it real. He's a rapist. There's no ifs, ands, and ups about it. His father said, oh, should he really go to jail for like 20 minutes of action? I'm like, he raped somebody. And he did it without their consent. That's the obvious form of rape. Like, come on, man. And not only that, he only gets like 3 months in jail. Instead of his 6 months, instead of like 20 years. Hell, a black man did the same thing too. He raped an unconscious woman. Guess what? 25 years, 20 to 30 years. So justice is just based off of skin color in America, isn't it? And not only that, it's just sad. It really is just sad. And for like Terence Crutcher to be shot like that, especially when he had his hands up and he was very compliant with the law, that's fucked up. And the people in Charlotte, they are very angry, but yet they're very cool-headed. And then you got violence brought upon them. That shows that America really hasn't changed, especially for black people. And it's just like this. That's a very hard pill to swallow, especially when it comes right down to race. It shows that really nothing has changed, especially here in America. It's 2016, and we're still feeling the effects of like 1990, 1966, 1956, 1946, 1976. Hell, even in the 1990s, there was still police brutality going on, especially with Rodney King and Amun Diallo. It shows that really nothing has really changed in America, except for the fact that, honestly, man, we need to just stop being pacified with the bullshit, especially with mainstream media. They're not really going to care about us. We should start caring about each other. The Nation of Islam is doing it, and some of y'all may not like them, but they're doing their thing. And they're actually out there leading the people, unlike these fucking leech of fucking preachers who don't even talk about this shit. Hell, even people who are high in office, even judges who say like, yo, Black Lives Matter, even if you have on a Black Lives Matter pin, they'll look at you as an enemy. Don't you think that's a bit messed up? Because it's just like, really? Even if you show your support for something, even if you have on a pin, even if you say, look, Black Lives Matter, and this isn't even right, what's going on here in America, they'll look at you as an enemy regardless of your skin tone. Let's just keep it real. And it just shows that America really hasn't changed. It just got slicker. And I'm going to quote Paul Mooney. America did not change, it just got slicker. And he said this too. He said, the only thing mixed about America is the weather. Think about it, it makes sense. The only thing that's mixed about America is just the weather. And it's just like, really? That makes no fucking sense. You know, not what Paul Mooney said, but just like the killing of innocent lives. Hell, they'll kill a 13-year-old kid because he had a BB gun, but yet they couldn't, shoot an actual murderer? You know, I'm looking at you, Dylan Stormroof. They couldn't shoot him, but yeah, at the same time, they can just shoot off. They can shoot off like a 13-year-old child. Come on, man. I'm not trying to say that America should do better. In fact, America is just a cesspool, man. And to keep it real, America will never change unless we overthrow it and make it into something better. And you may say, that sounds like mutiny. But I remember something that was said by the hypocritical founding fathers. If a government is unjust, the people have a right to overthrow it. I bet you never thought of it like that. So now, everything that they're doing is now very legitimate. And funnily enough, you don't even need the amendments or anything like that to express yourself. They're just there just to keep people in check. And if you feel as if something is wrong and it's morally in the right, then you have every right to speak out against it. Just like what the people in Charlotte are doing. They're doing the right thing. And for that, I give them my thanks, and I give them, like, you know what, man, my utmost support. Roman Clash supports you. I support you. That's who I am. And I'm not going to hide behind, like, some sheets and talk about, like, yeah, Black Lives Matter. I already know Black Lives Matter. I already know that. And we have to keep on reinforcing that in order for the next generation to know. Because if they don't know, then who's going to teach them? And then it becomes like an endless cycle of hate. And it just becomes like a genocide. And we're not going to look at each other and just be like, we're brothers. That's sad. And with that, YouTube, I'm just going to say to the people of North Charlotte, keep on fighting the good fight, keep on going, and don't give up. And for those who are in support of what's going on, especially with Colin Kaepernick, how the way you pronounce his name, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering it, keep on supporting him. taking a kneel during the national anthem. That's great, because it shows off that you're not just a pawn, you are a person, and only a person knows what to do. And with that, I say this is Broman Clash saying out one at one. Hope you have a good night tonight. Check you later.